Well, this is something very new for me. I'm going to be doing videos for the first time. I hope this is something that anyone can get on board with. I'm going to be doing the articles alongside this, but I think this is going to be a way of me getting more information across, and hopefully in a better way. Today's video is going to be about the Premier League. Obviously the final day is this Sunday, the 26th. There's some very important games and lots of movement to be had in the Prem as well. The relegation zone, the bottom three to go down aren't guaranteed. The top four at the moment aren't guaranteed. 5th and 6th aren't guaranteed. There's a lot that can change on this final day, and there's a lot of important games with teams that are battling in the same areas to actually stop each other getting into the top 6. So Chelsea are playing Wolves. They're hosting Wolves. A win will guarantee Chelsea the top 4 spot that they need. It'd be very, very good conclusion to the season for Chelsea and Lampard as well. Obviously, they weren't expected to do overly well this season, and it was coined a rebuild season. I think Chelsea have done very, very well considering the lack of finance that's been put into the club, but Chelsea are a top team, so you'd expect them to finish in these kind of positions even without the financial backing. Chelsea can win to stay in the top 4. Wolves do need a win to secure top 6 really. Spurs are right on their tail, a point behind, and I think if they were to drop points, Spurs could very easily take that position in 6th of them. 7th is likely to get Europa this season just because of the FA Cup and how it works out. But I think Wolves are going to be more obviously focusing on 6th to guarantee it, because that's an assured spot at the moment. But Chelsea to win, I think, is going to be a bit of a long shot. They haven't looked great in recent weeks. The attacking threat doesn't seem quite there, and Pulisic was rested last game. More than likely to be rested for this game because it's more realistic to get the 3 points against Wolves than it was away at Liverpool. But Chelsea also do have the FA Cup final to think about for next week. I believe it's the 1st or the 2nd of the month against Arsenal, which can be very, very big for the league, even though it's a cup game. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on as well. Coming down into, well, Chelsea are 4th, moving up into 3rd actually, but level on points. United are playing against Leicester. Now, Leicester at the start of lockdown, at the resumption of football, were 3rd, and they had a comfortable bit of space to sit in as well. They've absolutely tumbled down the table and they are in 5th at the moment, so not even in a Champions League spot. But if they were to get a point and Wolves were to beat Chelsea, they would move into the top 4 because they've got a massively superior goal difference. If they were to beat United and Chelsea were to win, then United would finish in 5th. So there's a lot of movement to be had. But I think United, again, they've been a bit off the boil recently. They've got very, very good youth to full team at the moment, and a lot of them have been scoring quite frequently. Fernandes has been obviously brilliant since he's come in. Greenwood has hit double digits at the age of 18 in the Prem, which is like unheard of. It's very, very rare, and he obviously looks a brilliant talent. Obviously got Rashford, and then Martial has scored 18 as well. But Vardy is top scorer of the Prem as well. So you can't rule out Leicester in that game. But I do think United will have what it takes to beat them, despite not looking as great as they have in recent weeks. Which is a shame for Brendan Rodgers, because I think Leicester are a great side. But I think they're destined for 5th now. I think after their recent slip-ups, they probably shouldn't have lost the positions they've been in. But unfortunately it's too late for them now. I believe it is going to be a 5th position for them. Palace are playing Spurs this week. Palace have got nothing to play for at all. Palace have been shocking since the resumption. They've lost 7 in a row, and their only game they've won since the resumption was against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth haven't been great either. Bournemouth have been shocking, but we'll get on to them. They're still somehow fighting. Spurs can win and go into 6th, as I said about Wolves. I think anything less than a win for Spurs would be disappointing based on how Palace have been recently, and Kane has been in great form. Scored a brace last week against Newcastle. It might have been the week before, but Son scored as well. He scored 3 and 3 now. He's been really mounting up the form as well. But yeah, I think Spurs, if everything works out as I'm expecting it to, Spurs will finish in 6th, because I believe Wolves may drop some points against Chelsea. I think it's looking like a draw in the Chelsea-Wolves game. But Spurs win, I think, is likely to happen. probably go as far as to say that's one of my top tips of the weekend. I'd say very, very likely to win. What I'll do right now is I'll also find out the price for that as well. We can get a little look. I normally use Flash Score for my stats. Flash Score, I think, are the most reliable by a mile for everything that they use. Spurs are priced up just above 1 to 2 to 1 odds on, which, to be fair, is a very, very good price considering the form Palace are in. So I'd probably snap that up, maybe partner it with a Kane goal or a Son goal. I think you'd get some very, very good odds on those. You get above even money, I'd imagine, for either of those, which at the moment would be an absolute steal. But moving further down the league, Arsenal are hosting Watford. Watford are in the relegation zone at the moment. They will need to get some points, because if they're not getting any points, it's going to be down to how heavily they can, not how much they can prevent Arsenal scoring. Because currently Villa are 17th, Watford are 18th, and Bournemouth are 19th. Villa are on a -26 goal difference, Watford are on a -27 goal difference, and Bournemouth are also on a -27 goal difference, but they've got a 3-point gap to make up. So Arsenal are away at Watford. Watford have sacked Pearson in a ridiculous way. There's 2 games left to go, they've sacked the manager, which is just insane to think about. I don't know why the logic is there, unless there's anything that's not been popping up in the media that we don't know about. But Arsenal can't finish in a European position and will be focusing on the FA Cup final, so they may rest their team. The likes of Aubameyang wouldn't be needed. A win for them is not going to benefit them in the league at all. They can't go any lower in the league, but they could finish as high as 8th. But to be honest, at this point, it doesn't matter where Arsenal finish because the season in the league for them is over. So it wouldn't be a shock to see them rest their team for the FA Cup. They do get the most of their points at home, so you kind of would expect Arsenal to win, especially with Watford only getting 1 point in the last 21 away points that have been available. So I think an Arsenal win's on the cards, which would seal Watford's fate. But I've predicted it as a 2-0, which would obviously put Watford's goal difference down to -29. So Aston Villa's game, they're away at West Ham, who have been in exceptional form. Antonio has scored 8 in 6, which again is insane. Obviously he scored 4 against Norwich, but he has been seriously good recently. And Villa, I think, probably will find the resilience to stay up, and I think they may even draw. After that, they managed to collect 7 points in the last 9 games. They did also win against Arsenal, which was a very, very strung out 1-0, but 3 points are 3 points, especially at this time of the season. You can't really go wrong with them. But I do think that Aston Villa may be able to scrape a point at West Ham. I think the likes of Grealish he's a very good captain. He can gather Aston Villa enough to motivate them into getting these points. But I think so a win would guarantee Villa safety, but I think a win's going to be quite unlikely with the form West Ham are in. And West Ham, of course, they're now safe. They can just play with the pressure off, which might even allow Antonio to keep scoring at this rate. Villa haven't won since the first day of the year, though, away from home, which is a slight worry. But as I said, if they do happen to lose, and Watford do lose as well, all they have to do is not lose by a bigger margin and they'll stay up, unless Bournemouth were to win. So Bournemouth are away at Everton. Everton are quite sturdy at home. They've only lost 3 of their 18 home games this season. Bournemouth will need a win, and they have to have Villa and Watford both lose. So now if Watford and Villa both lost, full stop, and Bournemouth won, Bournemouth would stay up. Bournemouth have not won away from home in 9 games. They've also lost every single one of those 9 games, and they've got 4 points out of their last 15 away games, which is absolutely insane considering how good Bournemouth have been in recent years. That is really quite poor. But Everton's one recent away loss, so their most recent away loss was in November. Home. Their most recent home loss was in November, but it was to Norwich. So Norwich have obviously relegated the 10 points adrift at the bottom of the table from Bournemouth in 19th, but they've only won 1 away game this season. So Everton aren't like it wouldn't be abnormal for Everton to slip points at home to a weaker team. Bournemouth could very well sneak a win, but I don't think they're going to have it in them. I think Everton should probably have enough to at least get a point. I can't see them losing in a dramatic fashion, but there is a chance that they could slip up. It depends on the likelihood. It completely depends on which Everton turns up, really, because they are a bit hit and miss on occasion. And Bournemouth in recent weeks, especially after their 4-1 win against Leicester, can just flick the switch and turn it on when they want to. So how this all plays out for me would be Man United would finish in 3rd, Chelsea would finish in 4th, Leicester would finish in 5th, Tottenham would finish in 6th, and Wolves in 7th would be the finish for me. And in the relegation zone, it would stay exactly as it is, with Villa in 17th, Watford 18th, and Bournemouth 19th. Any kind of feedback at all will be great on this video. I'm likely to put an article up with some betting predictions and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, just keep an eye on my Twitter. Hope you enjoyed, and any feedback at all, do let me know. Obviously, there's going to be something new, so any positive feedback will make me more likely to make more of these. Nice one. Cheers.